Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And we are inching closer, guys. Oh, we are inching closer. The long summer continues. This is the official dog days of summer. Late August, not much going on. A lot of you have been reaching out and have been asking where I am. And quite frankly, I don't like making videos about complete nonsense or doing lives talking about the same thing. Everyone, Luke's contract, where's Luke's contract, this, that. And there's just been nothing. This has been clearly one of the most lackluster and boring off seasons for the Devils in quite some time. And it seems to be the case around the league. It is what it is. There's a lot of speculation with the new CBA going into effect that we might see some moves being made after that. I don't know. All I know is that it's been boring. It's drought season. We are a few weeks away from training camp and preseason hockey. I am pumped. While I love the summer, I am a summer guy. We need some puck in our lives. We need some puck in our lives. It's coming soon. New Jersey Devils training camp preseason, a few short weeks away. But in the meantime, in the past week or so, there's been some things that I think are worthwhile to discuss with all of you. And so here we are. Here I am for now. And let's get into it. So news, notes, updates. We're going worldwide edition this time around. And we start off in Michigan. A few days ago, Team USA held their orientation camp for the Olympic hopefuls. And oh, guys, you know your boy Ace. I love international best-on-best tournament. Love USA hockey. I fell in love with international best-on-best back in 1996 during the World Cup. What a amazing run for Team USA, beating Canada in the finals. If you're not familiar, if you weren't born, you weren't a hockey fan, I implore you, look up 1996 World Cup finals, USA versus Canada. Look up some of the clips, or if you could find the full games from that tournament. Unbelievable stuff. Made me fall in love with international best-on-best. Probably the best American hockey team in quite some time. 1996 World Cup, yeah, I would put those beasts against anybody. But NHL returning to the Olympics for 2026 in February in Italy. I am super jacked for it. And the New Jersey Devils had 3 invitees to said orientation camp, and they are, to no one's surprise, the brothers Hughes, Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, and Brett Pesce. Would love to see Pesce make it, but here we see is kind of a photo of all the guys in whatever facility they're in. Here they are as a group. Not all of these guys are going to make it, but these are the guys invited to the orientation camp. And then we see Jack in the way back there. Hard to kind of see him because he's far away. Not the best photo, but there's Jack in the background. And then here's Jack talking to somebody. A little closer up photo. A little off-season Jack Hughes photo for the kids out here. And there's our man, Pesce. Big smile on his face. I'm sure he's happy to be there. And Patty Kane right in front of him. Man, Patrick Kane. What an American hockey legend. I think he has to be on the team. I would be kind of pissed off if Kane wasn't on the team, and I think they should give him the C. I think this has kind of been a thing going around for the past week or so as well, and Patrick Kane said that's really the only thing missing from his resume. He's done and won every other thing there is to win, except a gold medal in international best-on-best. Hopefully he's on the team, and he has a chance to do it with Team USA in the 2026 Olympics. Would love nothing more than to see the Americans pull it off with Patrick Kane. Great ambassador for USA hockey, and will go down as one of the best American players of all time, if not the best. But there you see Pesce with Patrick Kane, and then we see our boy Luke, smiling as always. For whatever reason, Luke always has a pretty interesting face on in a lot of these photos. But as we all know, we all wait. Where is the Luke Hughes contract? I believe it will get done. I'm not that worried about it. I do think this clearly is going into September now, obviously. And, we've talked about this and beaten it to death. Hopefully he doesn't miss any time from camp. Hopefully we could get the long-term deal. Hopefully it's at a number that the team and Luke's team can feel good about. And I'm hoping it's somewhere in that $8 to $9 million range. I really do. For 7 or 8 years, that'd be a phenomenal signing. But the Luke Hughes contract situation continues, unfortunately. And we're a couple days from September. But hopefully, it doesn't bleed into camp. And then we get a shot of these beautiful USA jerseys. There's our boy Jack modeling it. And love the Nike, obviously. He grew up a Nike kid. Who wasn't? And these jerseys are super clean. Obviously, I will be adding one of these to the merchandise collection as well. 2026 Team USA Olympic Hockey. Let's go. I am fired up for this one. Super fired up. And then we get on to the next little tidbit of news here. The NHL Network put out a list of the top 20 centers in the game today. This caused a little controversy. I don't think it's that crazy, but to no one's surprise, number 1, Connor McDavid. Absolute phenom. I do believe he's the greatest player I have ever seen live. Absolutely electric. I've talked about McDavid time and time again. I have been telling you guys, if you live in an NHL city or close to one, make sure you go see the Oilers when they come to town and see the Connor McDavid show live. It is a sight to see. He's almost 30 years old. Yeah, he's got some time, in the league still, but careers go pretty quick, and before you know it, you don't want to be one of those people when it's all said and done saying, oh man, I wish I saw McDavid play live. I try to see him every time he comes to New Jersey. Spectacular stuff, but to no one's surprise, number 1 on the list. Number 2, Nathan MacKinnon. I mean, how are you going to argue? Nate Dogg, complete beast. Love MacKinnon as well. He's going to be a monster for Team Canada. And then you see McDavid's teammate Draisaitl at number 3. Barkov, number 4. Sid the Kid, the ageless Sidney Crosby at number 5. It's unbelievable. We're coming up on his 20th anniversary of debuting in the NHL. Unbelievable stuff that Sid is just still getting it done at this level 20 years into his career. Number 6, Jack Eichel. Number 7, Austin Matthews. I'll circle back on him in a minute. Number 8, Braden Point. Number 9, Mark Scheifele. Number 10, Nick Suzuki. And there's our boy Jack at number 11. Robert Thomas at 12, Sebastian Aho 13, nicohischier at 14, Dylan Larkin at 15, Tim Stützle at 16, Rupe Hintz at 17, Tage Thompson at 18, another Team USA hopeful. Love me some Tage Thompson. Number 19, Macklin Celebrini, and number 20, Sam Bennett, the defending Conn Smythe winner. Absolute dog. You guys know I love Bennett. But a lot of people thought Jack was too low. And I get it. I mean, I'm not going to... It's almost splitting hairs, I think. I do think you can make the argument for Jack to be a couple spots higher, but maybe whoever compiled this list took the injuries and things into consideration. I do think Jack should be in the top 10 for sure, but you could argue him against a couple of the guys maybe above him. But in the end, I think it's somewhat of a fair ranking. And Nico at 14, maybe same for him that he could be a couple spots higher. But overall, I'm not going to get too excited about this because in the end, this list means absolutely nothing anyway. It means absolutely nothing. Go out there this season, get it done. Would love to see both of these guys have monster seasons, and obviously the Devils are going to go as far as the core 4 could take them, and Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier are a massive part of that. Can they stay healthy? Can they elevate their game to the next level and drag this team on a deep run? I just want a conference finals, guys. I just want a conference finals appearance. Obviously, I want a cup, but baby steps, right? Let's just win 2 rounds and get that feel-good feeling going on in the locker room, and then hopefully win it all in the next few years. But the time to win is now. But there they are, Jack Hughes at 11 and Nico at 14. I thought that was pretty interesting. And then really interesting, on a side note, kind of related to this, on NHL Network, Mike Rupp, former New Jersey Devil, 2003 Cup champ, Game 7 hero, love me some Mike Rupp, love his analyst work as well on television, said that he would take a healthy Jack Hughes over Austin Matthews. A lot of people were jumping on that, and I gotta love Rupper for repping the Devils and being a little bit of a homer. I don't think that many people will agree with him, including some Devils fans. I do think Austin Matthews is obviously one of the best players in the game. A lot of people have questioned his playoff performances and his heart and this, that, and the other thing. But in the end, Austin Matthews is a special, special talent. But it would be great if one day, in the next couple of years, Jack was considered to be the better player. I don't know that we're there yet. And obviously, Rupper threw in with health. So that's a big element. Hopefully Jack can stay healthy, play all 82. And we're heading worldwide. Like I said, we are going worldwide. And look at Anton Silayev. Wow. The Devils' number 10 pick overall from a couple years ago. The massive defenseman. I think he's listed at like 6'7" or 6'6", 210, 15 pounds. Still super young. Slated to play in North America for the 26-27 season. Just look at him jockeying, though, in front of the net. Just using that body and just bullying the forward in front. Can't wait till he gets here. Again, this is a future piece. Very young kid. But he will be a big part of the Devils' blue line for years to come. And he's only going to get bigger, nastier, and stronger. And I cannot wait to see it. That'll have a ripple effect on the defense. I'll probably make a whole video about the defense and looking forward. In the next couple weeks during training camp. September comes, I'm going to be back more active. I just can't make videos about nonsense. So a lot more stuff will be coming out in September, but Silayev is certainly a prospect to be excited about. Probably my second highest prospect in terms of excitement for me. My guy, Big Mike Yegorov in net, is my number 1. I'm a goalie guy. Grew up as a huge Marty Brodeur fan, and so I always love the goalies. I understand the importance of the position. I do think Big Mike is the future franchise goalie for the Devils, but I love a big, nasty defenseman as well. And so Silayev is my personal second kind of favorite or prospect I'm most excited about. And he's going to be a big, nasty man on this blue line. I look forward to it. And then we go to, I believe, Slovakia. Our man Simon Nemec putting in that off-season work. I'll expand on this in a bit. This was a whole thing on Twitter as well. But look at Simon Nemec. My God, look at the muscles on this man. Looks like he's getting swole in the offseason. Love to see it. Hockey is a very physical sport. And here's Simon Nemec putting in the work at the Liptov Sport Institute. Look at the quads on this guy. My God, Simon is going, he's transitioning from boys to men. It's happening before our eyes. You love to see it. This guy is getting jacked up. There he is doing some exercises there with the resistance band. Look at this. A monster in the making. You absolutely love to see it. We got some box jumps and Devils gear. Love to see the guys rocking the Devils gear in the offseason. I don't know why I always get a kick out of that. Bench press, what is that? He's got 4 plates on each side. Woof. With my math, 4 times, were they 45? It's 180. 180's 360. The bar, 45. I think he's like doing 400 and some odd pound bench presses. And again, I have to admire the quads. This is what you want the lower body of your hockey players to look like. Look at the trunks on this man. Unbelievable. You go, Mr. Nemec. You go. And I do think it's his spot to lose. I'll get to that in a minute as well. Doing some more bike work. Got the mask on for the VO2 test. Fully decked out in Devils gear. Love to see that. Practice jersey, the pants. Some more VO2 mask stuff. Nemec is putting in that work. I could only hope everyone else is pushing the sled. Look at this guy. Putting in the off-season work. He looks, to me, a good amount bigger than before. He was never like a tiny guy, I would say, but it definitely looks like he's put on some weight, and it shows. And so circling back, there was a big thing on X of people talking about players' off-season training regimens, and there was pictures of guys on other teams, and people started saying, oh, I wish our guys did this, and blah, blah, blah. And then some people were like, just because there's no photos doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And in the end, while I do agree that, you know, if you don't see the photos, it absolutely does not mean the guys aren't working out, obviously. You know, not everyone feels the need to broadcast everything to the world. That is something that I do not like about the social media world age we live in, where, you know, everything's kind of strange. And people are like, oh, you know, if you don't show it on Instagram or wherever online, did it really happen? And there's tons of guys, I'm sure, that work out all the time in the offseason and don't put it online. But it does get me a little excited to see it. I'm not going to lie. But I'm not going to kill the guys that don't do it. However, you got to be doing it. And I do think there are guys that dedicate more time to their job, essentially, in the offseason and do these intense workouts, and guys that don't. And in the end, regardless of the photos or evidence of it online or not, we're going to see when they show up. You know, you can't manufacture results from something you didn't do. And so we saw the photos of Nemec. He looks like he's becoming pretty beastly. And hopefully it translates on the ice. And on the flip side, we'll probably see some guys that we're going to say, where was your weight training days in the offseason? You know, it depends on how serious these guys take it. And I think there's guys that don't take it very seriously. There's guys kind of in the middle of the road. And then there's guys that are fully all in. Hopefully most of our guys are all in, because we do need to beef up as a team. I do think team toughness and just overall strength and power has been an issue. A lot of you agree, a lot of you disagree. It is what it is, but this is a very physical sport. You watch the playoffs, and it's just absolute war. But Simon Nemec doing his part. Hopefully some other guys, whether they posted photos of it or not, are doing something similar in the offseason, and it translates on the ice. That's all we could hope for. And we're going to see in a few weeks when these guys come to camp who was putting in that offseason work and who wasn't. A few more weeks away. And then we get to something posted by Bleacher Report, their open ice account. I thought this was interesting. We've briefly discussed this in the past. The New Jersey Devils quarter-century Mount Rushmore. And I think, you know, no arguments for me or pretty much anyone. And for the younger fans, it's unfortunate. A lot of you didn't get to see any of these guys, or maybe you saw the tail end of Patty's career. But they have Martin Brodeur, the goaltender, Scott Stevens, Patrick Elias, and Scott Niedermayer. And this is their quarter-century Mount Rushmore, and the caption reads, "The back end of the team's cup-winning dynasty era leads the Devils' quarter-century Mount Rushmore." Absolute legends. Obviously, Scott Stevens, Martin Brodeur, Scotty Niedermayer, all rightfully in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Hopefully, Patty Elias joins them sooner than later. He didn't get in this time around. He's only been eligible for a few years. Hopefully, we see him get in the very near future. I do think Patty is definitely an underrated player for his career that he had. Very illustrious. Two-time Cup winner. Did it all for the Devils. Played on one of the best lines in hockey for a couple years. And just kind of flew under the radar a lot for the duration of his career. And honestly, if he played on another team that played a little bit more of an offensively wide open kind of style, especially in the West at the time for a lot of his career, I do think he would have had a lot more points. And maybe that would have given him the boost needed to get into the Hall of Fame sooner. I do think, his stats somewhat suffered because he did play on a more defensively minded team in the Devils, but he still put up some great seasons and was a huge part of the team's success for all those years. 2 cups for it. Hopefully we see Patty in the Hall of Fame soon, but no argument for me. I mean, I think this is pretty much a no-brainer. I don't even know who you could make the argument for. And not only is this the quarter-century Mount Rushmore for the Devils, this is the Devils. You could open it up to the beginning of the franchise. In terms of just Devils history, the Rushmore wouldn't change. Marty, Stevens, Niedermayer, and Elias. That's it. And I think Marty, Stevens, and Elias, you could be hypothetically having this conversation in 100 years from now, and the Rushmore would look largely the same. You're not budging Marty, Stevens, or Niedermayer off the list ever. Ever. First ballot Hall of Famers, top 100 players of all time, 3 cups apiece. I mean, these guys are all-time greats in the sport, period. Like, they're not going anywhere. And so the only spot where someone could potentially get kind of bumped off would be Patrick Elias. And it would take a hell of a career as a Devil to push him off. If I had to bet my money, again, 100 years from now, Marty, Stevens, and Niedermayer are definitely still there. And the only one who could potentially still not be there would be Elias. And again, it would take quite a career from somebody to bump him off. If Nico or Jack go on to play for the Devils for another 12 years and finish with a crazy amount of points and multiple cups, like, could they supplant Patty? Maybe. But as it stands right now, this is the Devils' Rushmore of all time, and, safe bet for the very, very, very long future, it will not be changed. It will not be changed. And then finally, some New Jersey Devils 25-26 television news. On the Devils website here, we see Devils to be featured in 13 national TV games blog. The Walt Disney Company and TNT announced their respective NHL US national broadcast schedules for the 25-26 season. With the announcement, the Devils will be featured in 13 exclusive national broadcast contests, the most allowed per team, and once again hitting the maximum threshold of the 13 they played each of the past 2 seasons. The league also announced game time changes. The MSG Network's broadcast schedule will be announced at a later date. The games assigned to national broadcasts are as follows. And here we get into it. First game of the season on the road, October 9th. Devils at Carolina will be on ESPN Plus Hulu, and they bumped it from 7 p.m. to 7:30. Not a big deal with the time change. It is interesting. I forget what year they switched to 7 o'clock. Back when I was a kid, I feel like it was always 7:30, and then they bumped it up to 7. And then we have in November 12th, Devils at Blackhawks on TNT. Not really sure why they picked a Devils Blackhawks games per se, because the Blackhawks are just kind of but Devils at Hawks on TNT. And then the month of December 17th, Devils at Golden Knights, a very interesting one. Love to see that. Golden Knights are going to be another team I think that are going to be pretty lethal this year. And then we go to the 26th calendar year, January 6th, Devils at Islanders, ESPN Plus Hulu. A lot of you are going to be complaining about this too, and I get it, man. It's crazy. Like, you need a million apps and all these things and streaming to watch games. I do hate that about the NHL. Like, you want to grow your viewership and grow the fans. Like, make it somewhat easy. There's all these apps and all this stuff. It is frustrating, but it is what it is. I figure it out on a game-by-game basis. Then we go January 20th, Devils at Edmonton on TNT. Ooh, always love to see the Devils taking on McDavid like I talked about earlier. That'll be a good one. Excited for that. And then we don't have one in February. Not a ton of games because of the Olympic break, obviously. We go to March 3rd. The Panthers come to New Jersey. Florida at the Devils will be on TNT. And look at that, back-to-back national exposure for the boys at home. March 4th, Toronto at the Devils, ESPN Plus Hulu. March 7th, Rangers at Devils. It's criminal that we have to wait till March. I said last year when we had to wait till December, I think it was. I said that was criminal for the first Devils-Rangers game. This year it's March. I mean, what are they thinking? But Rangers come to the Rock March 7th. That'll be on ABC. And then we got March 8th, Detroit at New Jersey, ESPN. March 16th, Boston at New Jersey, ESPN. March 18th, Devils at Rangers on TNT. April 2nd, Capitals at Devils. That could have some playoff standing implications for sure late in the season. ESPN Plus and Hulu. They moved that one from 7 to 7:30 as well. And then April 7th, Flyers at the Devils on ESPN. And 13 games. The league seems to like the Devils in terms of just, marketing them. Obviously, we have a lot of exciting young players. We've been saying this for a while. Hopefully it translates to a deep run this year. But, the Hughes brothers are kind of a big deal. We have some other players that are probably of interest to fans around the world. Nico and Bratter, Timo, Markey. So, for whatever reason, but the Devils are picked to be a good team again this year, guys. Per Vegas, the past few seasons, we have been in the top, 4 to 5 teams in terms of odds to win the Cup. And so the league will continue to push them out there on the national platform. I'm not going to complain about it. I will always prefer to watch our MSG broadcast crew than the national crew, obviously, just because you get used to them and they're kind of the home team. So I do like the MSG crew, and I'm going to love it this year. Don LaGreca and Dano, I think it's going to be a spectacular duo. And so I'd like to see them do as many games as possible, and it sucks when they don't do it because of the national broadcasts, but it is what it is. And there you have it, the national broadcast schedule. Devils will be on national television 13 times. Wow. I'm a little exhausted from that. It's been a while, guys. But let me know what you think about anything I said in this video in the comments. Anything, everything New Jersey Devils hockey, throw it out there in the comments. I enjoy talking to most of you. And the summer continues, guys. We're almost there. We are almost there. Preseason, training camp. It is going to be fun. I do think there's going to be some exciting battles for jobs. I'll make videos about all this stuff in the first couple weeks of September. I'll have a lot of stuff coming out. I'm working on a lot of stuff, but as the summer winds down here, I've been pretty busy with a lot of personal stuff. My nephew's keeping me busy running around and some other kind of noise in the background. I'm still trying to get the studio built out. I'm getting closer mentally to getting there to start hanging stuff, but I'm still tinkering with some stuff in the background. But I appreciate all of you. I'll be back soon. I'm going to do a live soon. I'll probably, do the call-in show. Anything else, throw it out there. Throw it out there. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.